All right, up next, we've got sentencing of People v. Gregory Wright, file 25-7072 FH. Counsel, please state your appearances for the record.
Melissa Goodrich, Wayne County Prosecutor.
Daniel Hartman on behalf of Mr. Wright, present with me.
All right, and we're here for sentencing. It looks like on a use of methamphetamine, a 1-year misdemeanor, and possession of a weapon in a motor vehicle, a high court misdemeanor, 2-year maximum. Guidelines scored at 0 to 9 months. Have you had a chance to review the report and recommendations with your client?
We have, Your Honor.
Any additions, corrections, or scoring challenges?
None.
Ms. Goodrich from the People?
No, Your Honor.
Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, obviously, it's a situation Mr. Wright regrets happening. He did want me to inform the court. He understands that he is working currently. He is currently working for Davies Tree Service, where they service consumers' power. He's got year-round employment. He's been working there for 6 years. He's been a member of the community. He said that his last time in trouble was a while ago. I think it was 2020. Your Honor, we're just asking the court if the court would consider holding all the jail time in advance. We recognize there's a recommendation for some upfront time, but we're asking the court to consider some community service or something in the alternative upfront incarceration. He is prepared to report if the court should require incarceration, and he did want to express his apologies to the court.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wright, you don't have to say anything today, but you're welcome to. Is there anything you want to say, sir?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Ms. Goodrich, any recommendations from the People?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is 39 years old with 2 prior felonies and 5 prior misdemeanors. He is employed with a high school diploma. Just some concerns for probation to address his substance abuse issues. He was honest that he struggled with substance abuse most of his life in the PSI interview, but then also said he would not benefit from getting treatment for alcohol or controlled substances and tend to minimize what he had done. So I hope that he changes his mind through this probationary period and uses this time to seek help so he doesn't return to the system now at his age. And I would ask the court to follow the recommendations. I'm just showing that they're requesting 5 days incarceration with credit for the 5 days he already served in 18 months probation.
Okay, very good. Well, Mr. Wright, it looks like this traffic stop was initiated after a series of, maybe some miscommunications. But then when the police have contact with you, there's things in the car that ought not to be there. Some because there shouldn't be in a car, and some because you just shouldn't have them at all. So you've got 2 boys. You've got a job. You've got housing. You got a lot of good things happening in your life, and particularly methamphetamine. That is going to rob you of all the things that's going good in your life. So I hope that you take advantage of a probationary term. The agent noted that they've had you on probation before and you've done well. So I hope that continues, and that you use this time to figure out how to put methamphetamine in the rearview mirror in your life. Okay. So I am going to follow these recommendations and place you on, well, there's $118 in state costs for the 2 charges combined, $130 as a crime victims assessment, $350 in court costs, and you have to comply with DNA testing and pay a $60 fee. I'll order that you serve 5 days in jail and give you credit for 5 days previously served. And I'm going to place you on probation, not on the methamphetamine charge, because that's just the misdemeanor. I'm going to place you probation on the probationary order will only be on the possession of a weapon charge. It'll be for 18 months. It'll be subject to the terms and conditions listed in the pre-sentence report on pages 2 and 3. And even though it's not on probation for the methamphetamine charge, clearly that's an issue we want to solve. So you can't use or possess controlled substances or alcohol. You got to be subject to testing. You got to complete an assessment and follow any recommendations as your agent tells you. And you have to maintain full-time employment. Okay? And all the other things listed on the probation order are true. I'm just highlighting some things for you. Also, on the judgment of sentence will indicate that any weapons that were seized will be forfeited to the agency that seized them. Mr. Wright, you are eligible to ask for early discharge from probation at or past the halfway point if you have not violated and you've successfully completed its terms. We're going to hand you a piece of paper explaining that. Also, if you want to appeal, you can file an application for leave to appeal. If you wanted a lawyer appointed and qualified, you have to ask within 6 months. We're going to hand you a piece of paper explaining those appeal rights, ask you to initial one copy for us and fill out the other one if you want to take an appeal. Do you want him to stop down to schedule an appointment then?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Wright, do you have any questions for me? Okay, before you leave, I want you to stop by the probation office in the hallway and schedule an appointment so that they can get you started on probation, okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you. All right, we're back on the record, and next we have People versus Tristan Long, file 25-6997FH. Mr. Long had failed to appear back in October, and there's a outstanding warrant for his arrest, and this is the forfeiture hearing date on the bond. The surety is Craig's Bail Bonds. I do see a representative from Craig's Bail Bonds in the meeting here. Let's see if they want to participate. All right, Mr. Church, you're muted here. If you can unmute yourself. There we go.
How's that?
That's great. All right, anything you have to report on Mr. Long's prospects here?
Well, our office talked to Mr. Long this morning, and he was supposed to turn himself in at the jail, which he has not yet. So I assumed that he may be turning himself into court. If he's not there, then he has not done that.
He is not there, and I just had the court officer check the hallway, and he is not present.
Okay, so if you
What
could
I'll
give
do
us,
then, at least you've had some communication with them. I can continue the forfeiture hearing and not enter the forfeiture judgment then.
okay,
Give you more opportunity. I can continue it to January 6th at 3 p.m. if that's fine with you.
yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll continue the forfeiture hearing until January 6th at 3 p.m. And of course, allow the surety's representative to appear by Zoom. All right, thank you, Mr. Church. You have a great day.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Let's go off the record. Just waiting now. We're back on the record in 53rd Circuit Court, and we have People v. Jonathan Gauthier, file 25-7022FC for docket call and 20-6002FH for a probation violation hearing. I did consult with counsel, defense counsel, and the prosecuting attorney in chambers, and we're going to continue both of those matters until this coming Friday morning, December 5th at 8:30 a.m. for an anticipated plea taking. Anything you want to place on the record with that, Ms. Goodrich?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, so we'll just continue both of those to Friday. All right. And then all right, I have Mr. Grow and well, I've got a prison. Let's see, is that going to be Bringard or Murday? Let's see. I've got one prison number. Let's see who it is. All right, hello. It says DRF Hearings 1 West. I'm not sure which facility that is or which person's on the other end. I've got two prisons that should be calling in this afternoon. Can you hear me on your end?
I can hear you, yes.
And okay, the video's not working on that end. Hello, is that Mr. Bringard or Mr. Murday on the other end?
Bringard to Carson.
Yeah, I don't know, and the video's not working.
Does it say which facility it is,
It
Judge?
says DRF, I'm not sure. All right, I'm not hearing anybody on the other end. I'm not seeing the video. If there's anybody there, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Please try recalling. There's something wrong with the connection.
Can you hear me?
All right, good afternoon. We're back on the record in the 53rd Circuit Court for the County of Sheboygan. And we are providing public access both in the courtroom and also online. And we have next on our afternoon docket, People of the State of Michigan versus Dennis Bringard. It's filed 21-6092 FC. Counsel, you want to state your appearances beginning with People?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Susan Dillon on behalf of the people.
Daniel Grove, P48628 on behalf of Dennis Bringard, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon. And Mr. Bringard, can you hear and see us fine, sir?
Yes, I can.
All right, Mr. Bringard is appearing by video from the Michigan Department of Corrections. Mr. Groh appearing by video from a separate location. Mr. Bringard and Mr. Groh, let me know at any time if you need a breakout room. I'm happy to do that. I scheduled this for a status conference post remand from the Michigan Supreme Court. Looks like back in 2022, I sentenced Mr. Bringard to a term of imprisonment. I denied a motion for a new trial and a Ginther hearing. And then the Court of Appeals in 2024 affirmed his conviction and sentence. There was a dissenting opinion that said there was ineffective assistance of counsel for failing to object to an admission of prior statements from the complaining witness and a failure to consult with a defense expert, two of the many claims asserted in the Ginther motion. The Michigan Supreme Court on application vacated that part of the Court of Appeals opinion on those issues and remanded to this court for a Ginther hearing on those two issues. First, ineffective assistance for failing to object to testimony and evidence regarding the complainant's prior reports of the alleged assault. And second, ineffective assistance for failing to consult with an expert witness. Shortly thereafter, I granted retained defense counsel's motion to withdraw in January of 2025. There was a slight miscommunication in the status of the case when we communicated that to the Michigan assigned appellate counsel system. So there was a bit of a delay in getting someone appointed. Mr. Groh has accepted that appointment just a short time ago. It looks like maybe 6 weeks ago or less. So I wanted to set this for a status conference, Mr. Groh, to find out what your pleasure is. It seems like I wanted to find out if you wanted the opportunity. If I were in your shoes, I might want to review those issues and have the opportunity to file my own brief on them rather than relying on predecessor counsel's brief on those issues, and find out from you the time frame on kind of what you need to get up to speed on those. If one of them is a Ginther hearing for failing to consult with an expert, sometimes that means that you are going to need to do some work on the front end of that to know what a proffered expert might want to say. So I wanted to get your input first about what's your pleasure about how we would move forward in a expeditious way, but giving you time to be prepared.
Yes, Your Honor. And thank you for this opportunity. In terms of my involvement with the case to date, you're accurate that I have only had the case for a relatively short period of time. That's going back to basically the end of October, during which time I was kind of maneuvering through a murder trial, which has since been adjourned, and a couple of other things that were demanding my immediate attention. So I have not yet had a lengthy or detailed conversation with my client. I have spoken briefly with a representative of his family, and I have spent a fair amount of time talking to Mr. Sean Smith, who basically shepherded this matter through the Court of Appeals. And he also has provided me an extensive amount of materials electronically that I've been trying to work my way through. My plan is to meet with my client by Zoom very shortly, and then probably subsequently in person, and then proceed, not unlike you, Your Honor, have I anticipated that I might. So I just wanted to apologize to the court. Really, it was a long way of apologizing for not immediately meeting with Mr. Bringard, but I had a couple of things I had to take care of first. So things are back on track. I'm continuing to work through the materials provided by prior counsel, and it is voluminous. So I appreciate the court's looking forward to the challenges that I have before me in terms of getting up to speed.
Okay, so can I ask you, would your request be then that I would maybe set this for a continued status conference early into next year so that you could report whether you want to file a supplemental brief or before we schedule the evidentiary hearing?
I think the second or third week in January would be an appropriate time to do that, Your Honor.
Any objection to that?
No, Judge, that's fine.
And Mr. Bringard, do you want to have a quick breakout so I can explain that to you, or does that sound fair to you?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do that in just a minute. I'll create a breakout room for you two to talk then.
Thank you.
What I'll do then is we'll set this for a continued status conference on January 13th, Tuesday at 3:20 in the afternoon, and allow Zoom appearances again.
Thank
And
you, Your Honor.
Mr. Groh, I guess just as you're trying to work through that, obviously there's been a remand on the issues that I initially denied on, and that's fine. So I understand that what I said earlier in the case is no longer binding. But I do kind of want you to know, as I reviewed those materials that Mr. Smith had filed, I'm not telling you anything I didn't tell him on the record. I found his brief to be a shotgun approach that was kind of a mess to sort out what in the world he was actually arguing. So now the the Supreme Court has narrowed it to two discrete issues. But if you want to file a supplemental brief, I, for one, would welcome it, because if we have to rely on Mr. Smith's brief, I could make neither heads nor tails of some of those issues. So I just give that to you for you to put in the mix of how you want to proceed.
I appreciate the candor, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Groh, from the defense side?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further, Ms. Dillon, from the people?
No, Judge, thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Bringard, what I'm going to do right now is create a breakout room for you to talk with Mr. Groh. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.